Hey there, Saki here from SAKITECH, and in today's video I'm going to share 50 plus tips, tricks, and fantastic tactics for the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus. Now this is a fantastic smartphone, and these in-depth tips will allow you to maximize your ownership of your new and shiny smartphone. So let's dive in and discover. If you're wondering what case I'm using for my Samsung Galaxy Note 10, see the links down below. This is an official Samsung case. It's highly protective, stylish, and fantastic. Links are down below. Alright, so the very first thing I want you guys to do is to give your phone a proper name. So what you want to do is you want to go into the settings right over here and then go all the way down, tap on About Phone, and then from here, this is the current name of your phone. When you try to pair your phone with other devices, this is the name that's going to show up. So let's make it a little bit more personalizable. So click on Edit and give it a brand new name. So in my case, I'll give it Saki 10 Plus. So I know that this is the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus for myself. Very useful when pairing your phone with other devices, all right? So the next thing I want you guys to do has to do with your battery. So as you can see on the top, you have a battery bar, but you do not have a battery meter. You cannot see exactly what level your battery is just by glancing on the top. Now, if you pull this down, you'll see that. But what I want you to do is pull this down and then tap on this button, the three dots over there, and then tap on status bar. And from here, you're able to show the battery percentage meter right on the actual status bar without having to pull down the notifications panel. So that's very convenient. Now, one thing that is brand new on the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus is the floating button on the lock screen. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is assuming that you have the fingerprints enabled. So I'm going to go to the lock screen real quick, and then I'm going to double tap on the screen to wake it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock the screen, but I'm not going to let go of my finger. So let's do that real quick. I'm going to unlock, but keep holding. When you do that, you get access to this floating button from where you can access two apps of your choosing, such as a calculator app or the Chrome browser. Let me show you that to you one more time. Lock the screen, all right? Double tap on the screen, press and hold, and then you get these two apps. Now, to customize this, you go to settings, you go to the lock screen, then you scroll down and you go into the app shortcuts, and you want to make sure that this normally is what you're going to see by default, the button corners, but you want to enable the floating button. And then from there, you can also change the two apps I just showed you guys. So calculator can turn into, for example, the clock. And this I'm going to do just to show you guys Galaxy Store. So now when I lock the screen, okay, and if I double tap on the screen, okay, and if I go inside and keep it pressed down, I have access to the clock over here or the Galaxy Store, okay? Just make sure you keep your finger on the actual screen, and you can launch them from here immediately. One thing I do like to do is if I go to the settings over here and if I go into biometrics and security and go into my fingerprints, let me just dump in my password here. As you can see, I have three fingers registered. I got fingerprint 1, 2, 3. You want to make sure you rename these so it makes more sense. So if I want to rename the fingerprint 1, first what I want to do is I want to check added fingerprint. So I'm going to do that, press. So that's fingerprint 1, okay? So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to erase that name and say left index. Okay, so now I know exactly what that one is. Now fingerprint 2, I want to check added fingerprints. You tap on this one. Now this one is fingerprint 2. So I'm going to go over here, rename this to left thumb. Alrighty, so that's a great option to have as well in regards to your fingerprints. Couple other things you can do with the fingerprints. If you go back over here, you go to biometric preferences, and then you can actually enable the screen transition effect. Now, if I disable this, and if I go to the home, the lock screen real quick, boom, boom, I will not see a transition effect. Okay, it goes right in, and that feels faster. If you have this one, you are going to see a slight effect as I log into my smartphone. So you may have seen that or not on the camera, but I saw a slight transition effect. So that's for the fingerprints right there. Let's move on to the next tactic. And of course, one new thing with the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Now, when you pull this down once, you'll get two buttons here. You get the power button and the settings button. when you pull it down one more time, you get 4 buttons, you know, the search button, power settings, and of course the 3 dots button that I'm going to talk about in a second as well. But what I do want to focus here is a quick way to turn off your phone is simply pull this down and tap on this power button, which actually activates the power menu from where you can power off, restart, activate the emergency mode, or go into the side key settings. Now I'm going to be talking about the side key in a second. That's the side key right here. Remember, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus does not have a power button on this side. It's only going to have the side key that is actually customizable and doubles up as the Bixby/power button. We will talk about that in a second. What I do want to talk about next is actually setting up your phone's home screen so it works for you. Now, the one thing that I don't like with this phone when you first get it, let me just disable the settings so you can see what I'm talking about. So basically, if you swipe up, you get the apps. If you swipe down, you get the apps. What you can do is you can customize these interactions to access other things. So by default, this is the way the phone is set up. What you want to do is you want to pinch the screen, go into home screen settings, and you want to enable swipe down for notification panel. So when you enable this, and when you go back home, you can pull the notifications panel down by swiping on the screen towards the bottom, okay? And then when you do swipe up, you can go into your app drawer. Now, some people like to have the app drawer button at the bottom over here, at the bottom row. If you want that button, again, you want to pinch the screen, go to home screen settings, and simply enable the apps button. So if you enable this apps button, go back home, now you've got an apps button right over here that takes you into the actual app drawer instead of swiping up. Now, I think that is redundant, and I do like to have an extra app sitting right over here. So what I like to do is disable the apps button. So go to the settings, disable the apps button, go back home, and then now you have an extra space here for another app. Let me just, for now, grab this guy and dump it right here so you can have 5 applications here. Now, just in case you're only able to add 4 apps at the bottom row, I do want to let you know you can change the grid of the phone. So if you pinch the screen, you go to home screen settings. On the top, you've got the home screen grid. So when you tap this one, you can have 4x5, you can have 4x6, you can have 5x5, which is what I prefer, and you can also have 5x6, okay? So the higher the combination, the more apps you can have on your screen. Now, this is a very large screen, so 5x6 is not bad, but I like to go with 5x5, okay? So that's what it's going to look like. You're going to have 5 apps in each row, and of course 5 apps in each column, all right? Now, the other thing I want to talk about has to do with your lock screen. So basically, let me lock the phone real quick. So I'm going to lock the phone. When you single tap, it gives you your always on display. When you double tap, it wakes up the actual screen. And on the screen, there's a lot of things you can actually customize. Now, the first thing I do want to talk about is the face widgets, all right? So go to the settings real quick, and then go into the lock screen. And then from here, go into the face widgets right over here. You tap on this one. And then from here, just enable all these, just in case you can see what I'm talking about. So these are the face widgets. They can also be reordered, but for now, let me show you what they are. So let me lock the screen, double tap on the screen. That's the lock screen, and now you have access to this face widget. So you can actually control your music if there's a music playing in the background, and you can swipe over to see your calendar entries. Then you want to swipe over one more time. You're going to see all your alarms in the next 7 days. If you swipe over one more time, you can see the weather and the location, all right? So you can swipe through these face widgets as you please. So that's the face widgets you can enable on your screen. So like I said, you can enable or disable these as you please, okay? Now if you tap on reorder, you can change the actual order. So you can see today's schedule first when you swipe over, music next, alarm next, weather next, Bixby routines next. It's gonna be up to you. All right, so let's move on to the next tactic. All right, so let's go into the settings real quick. I'm gonna talk about the navigation bar that's at the bottom over here. So what you wanna do is you wanna go into your display, and then what you wanna do is you want to go into the navigation bar that is right over here. You tap on this, and these are navigation bar customization tactics. So first and foremost, when you first buy the phone, this is the button order that you have. The back key, home key, recents key, that's the recents key, all right? You can swap the back and the recents key by tapping this button. Now the back key is right here, as you can see, which in my opinion is more useful, and the recents key comes right over here. So that's great. Now the other thing you can do is you can go for full screen gestures. When you go for full screen gestures, the keys, the physical keys here actually disappear. So when you go over here, what you want to do is you can use this as the back key. Okay, this swipe up to go back, swipe up in the middle to go home, swipe up on the right to bring up the recents menu. So you have that option. If you like more immersion, you can do this as well. Now if I go to navigation bar and if I tap on this one here, the gesture hints, you see these three lines over here? You may or may not like them. You can just disable them and you can just memorize what's happening over here. Okay, so I can do the same thing without the actual gesture hints. Now if you are using the S Pen to make drawings on your phone and you're doing precise drawings on the edges of your phone, you want to enable this as well, so the S Pen doesn't accidentally just make you go home or make you go into the recents while you're actually drawing. Now if you're going to be using your S Pen to navigate your smartphone, then I would keep this disabled. Now I like it this way right here with the buttons, so I'm going to keep it just like that. With this option, you don't have to worry about the S Pen, but with the full screen gestures, you do have to worry about the S Pen accidentally bringing you out of the application in which you're making a drawing. All right, so just be careful with that. All right, so let's move on to the next tactic. Now real quick, I'm going to show you one more thing. Here we have a night mode, and I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with the night mode. This enables you to go into the night mode. It reduces eye strain, saves some battery, but what you can also do with the night mode is you can go inside and you can schedule it as needed. So you can tap on this and then you can choose sunset to sunrise, which is going to do everything for you automatically. So the night mode will be enabled on sunset and disabled on sunrise, or you can create a custom schedule for this night mode to actually start. Now remember, when you do night mode, most of the system apps turn black and white. So you get black and white right here. You get black and white on the Google bar. If I go into my message, it's going to be black and white as well. So we can go right back out. Even if I go to the calculator right over here, it's going to be black and white. Okay. And of course, you can also disable or enable the night mode from the notifications panel here, which also turns black and white. So let's look for the night mode option. It's right here. Boom, it's gone. Now, by the way, in the notifications panel, you can press and hold on any one of these settings to go into the details of that particular setting. So I can press and hold, and boom, it takes me into the details of that night mode. So let me just disable that for now. I will fix it later. But again, like I said, notifications panel, if you press and hold on any one of these options, boom, takes you directly into the actual detailed settings for that quick toggle that's on the top. If you tap on text, it gives you a quick expansion. Okay, so if I press and hold on the actual button, full settings, if I tap on the text, you get a quick expansion with for quick modifications. For example, if I tap on flashlight here, I'm able to turn that on and change the brightness intensity if I so desire. So just keep that in mind as well. Just little things that makes these phones amazing. Now, one of my favorite settings on the smartphones is the one-handed mode. The phone is large, okay? It's a 6.8-inch display. It's going to be very hard to use with one hand. So what you want to do is you want to go to the settings, all right? You want to go into the advanced features, and then you want to look for motions and gestures. You tap on that, and here what we have is we have the one-handed mode. Just enable this first, and then go inside and choose the button option. Now let me enable the button option real quick. So when you have the gestures enabled, the button option is grayed out. So let me just show you how to fix that if you are in this scenario as well. Go to display, go into the navigation bar, and go back to the button navigation button setting. Okay, now let's go back to advanced settings right over here. Go into motions and gestures and go into one-handed mode. Now I'm going to choose the button option. Now when you triple tap the home button, you are able to enable the one-handed mode. You can left justify this, as you can see, or right justify this. And by doing so, you're able to use the entire phone with only your thumb. That's absolutely fantastic if you are in a need to use the phone with one hand. Again, I can go home, I can launch my text message, I can go inside the message right over here, I can tap and I can use all the keyboard. go back home, bring down the panel, and that's fantastic. When you're done with all this, you tap on the black area, boom, goes right back to maximum mode. Beautiful options. Now the next thing has to do with video and audio. Now when you're watching video and listening to audio using the stereo speakers, you want to be able to get the best possible sound quality. So there's two settings you have to tweak immediately. First, go to settings, go to advanced features, go all the way down and make sure video enhancer is enabled. So when I go in here, video enhancer kicks in when you launch certain applications. Most applications that you download from the Play Store, such as Hulu, Netflix, Prime Video, it's going to be available. Now when you enable this, your picture simply becomes brighter with more vivid colors. I mean your videos. So they're simply going to look much better. And of course, if you don't want it, you can simply disable it. You can see the difference. Just launch a YouTube video, enable this, and then disable this, watch both of them, and see which one you like. So that's the video enhancer for maximum satisfaction in video watching. Now when you go back, you want to go into the sounds and vibration. Now we're going to fix our sound. Go all the way down, go to advanced sound settings, and of course the Note 10 Plus comes with Dolby Atmos. Tap on sound quality and effects, go into Dolby Atmos and make sure Dolby Atmos is enabled, and you can put this to be auto, so it auto picks between movies, music, and voice. Now I was watching a movie earlier, so I put it on movie. It basically is going to give you enhanced audio playback with Dolby Atmos surround sound. And of course you want to make sure you enable the same thing for Dolby Atmos for gaming, so when you're actually gaming you get beautiful realistic sound. And real quick, people who do care about equalizers, you can tap on this one, pick the option that you want, or go to custom and make a modification to your equalizer as you please. Alright, again, only for people that care about equalizers. Let's move on to the next tactic. Now I did mention the side key in the beginning of the video, so we do have a side key here. If you press the side key, which is right here, it turns off the phone. If you press it again, it goes to the lock screen, okay? And then I log in right over here. Now you can customize the side key. Remember, if you tap on this button here, you have the option to go into side key settings from here, or you can go to the settings, go into advanced features, and then go into the side key from this to reveal the same menu. Now with a double press, you can quick launch the camera, or you can open Bixby, or you can open any app that you want. So for example, if I choose calculator, now when I double tap this guy, double tap, it's going to launch my calculator application. Okay, so remember, you do have the option to customize this key, and with the press and hold, you can either wake up Bixby or you can activate power off menu. So when you want to actually turn off your phone, you want to press and hold this guy. It brings up the power off menu. Oh, press and hold, and from here you can do whatever you please. All right, so that's great as well. Now notice when you press and hold this one, the power off menu is all white. When you go over here and tap on this power button, it's going to be more transparent black. All right, so just a little different that I thought was interesting. Now there's a couple more things you can do with that power key, by the way, so let me show you what that is. So when you go into your phone application, when you tap on this three dots button here, you want to go to the settings, and then from here you want to go into answering and ending calls. Now this is a smartphone, so many times we use it for calling people and taking calls from people. So tap on this one, and basically you can actually use the side key to end calls. So if somebody calls you and you're done with talking to them, you can press this button to end the actual call. Additionally, you can use the volume up to answer an incoming call. So if somebody calls you right now, instead of swiping the green button, you can press the volume up to take the phone call, to accept the phone call. So make sure, if you like these options, these hardware buttons to take and end a phone call, enable these as well. Alright, so let's move on to the next tactic. Now I do want to talk about the edge panels really quickly. So if I go over here, okay, these are the edge panels. What I want you guys to do is understand that this is fully customizable. By the way, if you tap this button here, you get quick access to all your edge panels. Now when you go into the settings, okay, from here you can add or remove even more edge panels, as you can see. Okay, so I can add so many more. When I go home and pull this, now I got so many more edge panels that I can swipe through. Okay, You can tap on settings over here and you have access to all these. You can customize them. You can even turn off the etch screen if you don't want it. It's gone, okay? But if you enable it, it's going to sit right over here. Of course, you can even modify where this etch panel sits. So you can tap on this button here. You can say etch panel handle, and you can take this panel and you can put it on the other side by tapping the right button. Now it's right over here. So now it's going to be accessible from this side. You can change the color of the actual handle. So when I go back home, now my etch panel handle is right over here. Okay, so many ways to customize this. But the best thing is you can tap on this button, go into Galaxy Store, and then download additional etch panels. Once you download them, they'll show up right over here in the settings right here. Okay, now soft key edge is something you're not going to have. You may have seen me using it. If you want the soft key edge etch panel, you go to the store, you just search for it, and you download it. All right, once you grab it, you're going to have this beautiful option right over here that allows you to take a screenshot right over here, or even if you want, you can lock the screen using software keys, okay, which is what I prefer to have. So those are the etch panels, and of course we also have edge lighting. Now we don't have a notification LED light on the smartphone, so you want to go to the settings again, and you want to go into display, and from here you want to go into edge screen, and this is what we were earlier. We were in this menu right over here. Okay, you can access that menu from here as well, but you want to go to edge lighting, and you want to make sure that you enable edge lighting when you get a notification like a text message or a phone call. The edges of the phone actually glow, and those glows, as you can see, are fully customizable. So I can have all these. Let me just change the color real quick. Let's do red, so you can, or green. Let's do the width. I'm going to make this very thick so you can see it easier. So you can do all these things, all right? You can also change the transparency to high or low. So effects are these. So I have the bubble effect, the multicolor effect, so when somebody calls me or sends me a text message, or the glow effect, all right? Or you can do the glitter effect. Again, these are the notifications we have on this phone because we don't have the LED light on the top. So make sure you customize these as you please. I prefer to have the basic option right over here. Click done. Remember, that's the edge lighting style. You can also go in here and customize what apps you want to actually use the edge lighting for. So I can enable WhatsApp for it. I can enable the calendar for it. So for all these apps that I've enabled, the edge lighting is going to go into effect, or I can enable all of them, all right? But I don't like that. I like to customize my stuff, so I'm going to keep it like that for now. All right, let's move on to the next tactic. Now I do want to talk about the always on display really quickly. So if I go into my lock screen, when I lock the phone, turn it off, you'll see that if I tap on the screen, you'll see an always on display that gives you quick information and some of your notifications. So this thing is fully customizable as well. So what you want to do is you want to go to the settings, and then you want to go into the lock screen, and from here what you want to do is you want to go into the clock style. Now first and foremost, here's the always on display. You can disable or enable that as you please. When you enable the always on display, you tap on this, and what you can do is you can enable the tap to show option, which is what I have, or you can have the show always option. If I have this one, and if I lock the screen, it's just going to appear automatically, as you can see, and it's going to remain there, but it is going to eat some battery life. Not too much, but it's going to eat some battery life. So I like to use it as tap to show. So it is not there, but if I want to see it, I can tap the screen, boom, shows right up. So that's the always on display, but when you want to change it, you want to go to the clock style, and from here you want to tap on always on display, and then you quickly get access to all these various always on displays that you can show off in your lock screen. So I just picked a new one, so now when I tap to show, boom, I'll see the new styling that I chose. So let's go back here real quick, clock style, always on display, and then go to the color. You can also change the colors for everything. Okay, so I can pick a different color, as you can see. And then again, if I go to the lock screen, tap to show, it's going to show up right there. Okay, so that's all great stuff. Again, you can also tap on clock style and also change the lock screen's clock style as well. So from here, I can pick something like this and also change the color to red. Click done. Now when I go to the lock screen, I will be able to see a beautiful clock right over here the way I want it. Remember also we have the face widgets, all right? So that's all fantastic. Now one more thing I like to add to my lock screen is if I go to the settings over here and go into lock screen, I like to add a quick contact information, but I use it as a signature. So what I do is I type in SAKITECH, I click done. When I go to the lock screen now, you'll see that I'll be able to put a little SAKITECH at the bottom of date, which is great because you can put a quote if you want, or anything that motivates you or inspires you, you can put a little quote out there. And also realize that I made a typo, so it's going to be SAKITECH. All right. And one final thing with the lock screen over here is you can actually change the app shortcuts that you see on the lock screen on the corner. So if I go here again, lock screen, you have access to the phone here that you can launch like this, okay? Or the camera that you can launch like this. So if you want, you can modify these two buttons. So again, if you're in the app shortcuts under lock screen, what you want to do is you want to tap on left shortcut, change it to any other app. As you can see, calculator, right shortcut, you can change it to another app like Chrome, and then you have calculator and Chrome on the lock screen. If you're wondering what case I'm using for my Samsung Galaxy Note 10, see the links down below. This is an official Samsung case. It's highly protective, stylish, and fantastic. Links are down below. Alright, so if you found this video useful, make sure to subscribe to SAKITECH by clicking that button, and also click that bell icon on the side to make sure you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you do use Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, you can follow me at SAKITECH online to get the latest updates as well. All right, have a fantastic day.